In this video, I would like to speak about 3 questions Paramahamsa Vishwananda has mentioned in one of his tweets. The 3 questions are: first, why people believe so easily someone they don't know and who is telling lies. Second question, why people have problem to believe the guru and trust that he knows what he does. And the third question, what is the biggest weakness of a spiritual aspirant? And the first question, why people believe so easily someone they don't know and who is telling lies, he says. Here believing means accepting without thinking, and under quotation mark, a lie means not necessarily a lie, but also a half-truth, an assumption, prejudice, judgment, misinterpretation, misunderstanding, or ignorance. So why is it so easy for people to believe someone they don't even know and who lied to them? First, we have to understand to which reality belongs this context mentioned above. It belongs to the external reality, reality perceived through imperfect senses, conditioned mind, and colored by false ego. It belongs to the ways of society. A person is not aware of his inner reality, which consists of thoughts, emotions, and awareness and consciousness. Interactions and communications happen automatically, meaning inside the context of the conditioned mind, the context of conditioned behavior. Conditioned mind doesn't have sharpness. It is, in a way, dull and reacts to sensations. Such mind belongs to society, depends on society, or on other people's opinion. So, unknown people and unwritten rules and expectations that others have are a web of delusion in which ignorant souls are trapped. Due to that conditioning, one yields to everything that the ego perceives as powerful and what is not a threat to its existence. So in this first part, we can see the Guruji speaks about the conditioned mind, the conditioned senses, the conditioned intellect, the conditioned ego, which wants to survive. We believe lies or tend to believe lies of others and people we don't know, because those people might speak from a space of ignorance and limitation, the same ignorance and limitations we are living in. And when we hear such things, they don't threaten our false identification, they don't threaten our ego. That's something which we might understand and which we might even feel comfortable with. But it is all from a limited material worldview. And it is all related to the ego which wants to survive. He carries on saying, when one starts walking on the spiritual path, what is happening? One decides to change some things in one's life. All changes start as external changes like change of diet, clothes, lifestyle, associations, content for the mind, goals, in short, the expression of external personality. Thanks to true knowledge, one starts seeing, observing, and noticing things in the external and internal world, and one becomes more aware and infuses this awareness into actions, the world of thoughts and self-reflection. This is the seed of change. Then comes a germ, then a small plant of new life and living. In this section, you can see Paramahamsa Vishwananda speaks about the start of a spiritual life, where you actually invite a new reality into yourself and you change your external circumstances. You don't get stuck on external circumstances, the ones which made you comfortable before. Once you embark on the spiritual path, you're more willing to observe the outside reality and also the inner reality, and change your mindset, change your goals, change your habits. This brings you to Kriya, action with awareness. That is the seed of change. That seed starts to germinate. And then from that germinated seed, a small plant of new life starts to rise. Further on, he says, this is a very vulnerable phase as one is still depending on external influences. Other people's opinion, still old habits are present. Old habits of being automatic in reactions, identifying with physical body and conditioned mind. Due to all this, it is easy to believe to what one is used to what is known, and what is from external reality. So whatever is happening in a known, predictable way gives certain sense of being safe and secure, no matter how the situations can be unfavorable, inconvenient, or painful. Even unknown persons, strong in their conditioning, a conditioning which then is often falsely perceived as strength and also truth or right, but still fits to the ways of external world and to the society. That is easier to accept when you are in that weak spot. Human relationships are also conditioned, and relationships contribute to the building of one's personality and personal reality. They are part of human ego identity. In the last part of this first question, he says, this part where this small plant is growing, this new life starts, that is a very vulnerable phase. And like a small plant you need to protect. Old habits and reactions will still come to the surface. In time of difficulty, we tend to go back to our old and known reality, even though it might be uncomfortable and painful. Even unknown people who are very opinionated, strong in their conditioning, seem to have the truth, seem to have answers. But in reality, they are as conditioned as you are. Everything and everybody who is bound by the conditioned material reality can only give you a conditioned and material truth, and will always, in that sense, just nourish this false identification of ego. That brings us to the second question, why people have problem to believe the guru and trust that he knows what he does. Because the guru embodies other reality, a reality of divine consciousness, reality of divine self, reality of God, reality of true love, reality of the higher truth, reality of that what is beyond mind and physical body. The guru embodies superior intelligence, integrity of external and internal worlds, wholeness, fullness, individuality and authenticity. Guru is free from delusions. He sees, knows, and has realized the truth with the big T. He doesn't compromise truth for the sake of society's opinions and expectations. To get into contact with the Sadguru and to connect with the reality he embodies is not possible with the external ways. And now Guruji writes in big letters, one has to awaken internal reality and qualities of consciousness, awareness, intelligence, and one has to sharpen his mind. One has to get into contact with his own heart and feelings and intuition. Otherwise, the master and disciple cannot connect. Although the master is available, it is not the case for the disciple. And because the Sadguru talks spiritual language, the disciple has to learn it as well. Otherwise, as it often happens, misunderstanding of the Sadguru and his ways is bound to happen. That misunderstanding leads to distrust, because the Guru is the one who makes the soul free from the ego identity, from delusion, and from the spiritual slumber. He is working in unexpected ways, and he is mysterious, beyond the reach of mind and logic, which are the very base of conditioned state and being. Just in this first part, I want to mention why people have problem to believe the Guru. And Guruji says, because the Guru doesn't act in a reality which is conditioned. He speaks from a different place, which is unknown to our conditioned self. And that is obviously a scary thing and a difficult thing to understand. The Guru doesn't depend on society's opinion or on anybody's opinion. He is free. He knows the truth, the absolute truth, not the conditioned truth. And he's here to give it to all of us. So he will do anything to bring us to where we belong. But we have to be able to listen. And that means we have to understand the spiritual language. That's why he says, awake internal reality and qualities of consciousness, awareness, intelligence, and one has to sharpen his mind. If we don't do that, we can be as close as we want to the Master. We will still not understand what he is actually talking about. We will still not be connected with what he is able to give us. As we read, he is working in unexpected ways and he is mysterious, beyond the reach of mind and logic, which are the very base of a conditioned state of being. He carries on saying, and that is unknown land, and to walk the path means to accept the unknown, means letting go and means to surrender. For that, Guruji says, tremendous courage is needed. Sure, courage is needed for that, because to let go, to surrender, to jump into the unknown is something which scares us, because it is unknown. It is out of our control. But even more than courage, what we really have to attain, Guruji says in the next sentence, by writing it again in big letters, even more what is needed is burning longing for God and truth and realization. So if a disciple or devotee doesn't work on its own awakening of his own inner reality and consciousness, if he doesn't have that inner urge for higher reality, for God and freedom and for love, such disciple cannot connect properly with his Sadguru, neither his guidance or teaching, nor can he advance and get spiritually mature and ready for realization. So in short, to summarize, why is it difficult to listen to the Guru? It is because he speaks from a different realm, from a spiritual realm which is unknown to us. And to be able to listen to him and to hear what he is saying, we need to change, we need to transform, we need to be ready to let go and to trust also. And that needs a lot of courage. And beyond that, what we really need is to increase our longing for God, for truth, for realization. The longing is that which will attract the grace and give the answers. On that point, him and also other spiritual masters have often said, if you really want to achieve your spiritual goal, you have to long for God, as the fish out of water longs for water. Meaning that much we have to long for God, as we long for air when we are deprived of it. And if you don't know how that feels, just try to put your head underwater for some time and see how much you think of anything else and how much you want to breathe. If you don't have that longing, I think we can ask for that longing. I tend to long every day for the longing. I pray that he increases this longing for him inside of me, so that I can be ready to connect with him and really grow spiritually. That leads us to the third question which Guruji tackles in this tweet. What is the biggest weakness of a spiritual aspirant? The answer is, it is his weak mind. What is this weak mind? It is the mind that is not trained and lacks maturity. Same as the physical body, if it is not trained, it is not able to endure big physical exertions or run a marathon. So in the same way with the mind. If it is not trained well and trained every day, then such mind cannot have strength to endure, to reach the spiritual goal. The mind that is not disciplined is not under control. It is wild, unclear, unfocused. It is described by Krishna as the enemy in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 6, verse 6. The mind that is not trained cannot stand spiritual progress through which one has to go. And the Sadguru creates always such environments and processes for the sake of his disciples and devotees to actually grow. Hence, it is very important to have a strong mind if one has spiritual goals. What is a strong mind? A strong mind is the mind that is trained every day for going through inner spiritual process, through which the Guru guides his disciples and devotees in order to achieve spiritual goals and realizations, and in order to make them free and establish them into higher reality and realization. So, conclusion, serious sadhakas practice their sadhana and apply spiritual knowledge and methodologies, undergo spiritual training and discipline in order to make their mind strong, to make the nervous system strong, and prepare oneself to be ready to receive the grace and love of God which the Sadguru longs to give. So understand clearly, what is the spiritual path? What is the spiritual process? What is the role and dharma of the Sadguru? What is the dharma of a disciple and a devotee? Do not avoid spiritual process of purification which will make you strong, mature and ready to receive the grace of God and Sadguru. And work on awakening of your inner consciousness and spiritual potential. This last question seems to me to be answered very clearly and doesn't need much elaboration. In short, Guruji says we have to train our mind to make it our friend. We have to constantly, every day, train our mind to make it our friend. We cannot let it loose and run wild, because then it will definitely become our enemy and bring our downfall. He also reiterates that the Sadguru is always creating opportunities for a disciple, for a devotee, to challenge the mind, to grow over their own limitations. If you look at yourself, this is the case. Every situation in your life is an opportunity to grow. And the greatest difficulties are often the greatest opportunities to grow. If we can see that there's always the hand of God and the hand of Guru, which helps us, which brings on the surface that which needs to come on the surface, which purifies that which needs to be purified, then we will actually embrace any situation, any difficulty, anything which is given to us, and happily take on any situation in life, because they're all for our spiritual growth, they're all for our best. We should not avoid the spiritual process and purification, but we should embrace it. Guruji often says, we all want to be a diamond. The diamond which, when found in nature, is just a piece of carbon, unnoticed. But once it gets polished, it is shining in all different lights and all different colors, and it is worth a lot. In that sense, we all want to be a diamond, but nobody of us wants to be polished. Once we can embrace the polishing and purifying process in our life, then we can actually live a fulfilled life, because there is no more good and bad moments. There's just moments which bring us closer to our true self and to our eternal relationship with God. In that sense, I invite you, don't get conditioned by your ego, by your lower mind. Don't believe what conditioned society and people tell you. Embark on your spiritual path. Find inner truth. Find inner stability. Connect with your Sadguru. Listen to his words. Listen to his message with your heart. How will that practically manifest? By doing daily your sadhana, by doing daily your introspection, by doing your mental hygiene. If we consider every day these 3 points, firstly, the danger of falling for our wrong identity. Secondly, connecting deeper with the higher truth, with the spiritual truth, with our Sadguru. And thirdly, doing the necessary steps, the necessary hygiene to actually disidentify with this material reality and connect more with the spiritual reality, then our spiritual path is going to be an amazing journey with constant growth. Jai Gurudev.